Get rolling. Again, I want to welcome everybody to our webinar this evening, which is titled How to Unlock 21% Growth in Any Practice. Now, keep in mind, that's 21% in the first 8 months of this year. So doing the math, that runs out to about 31.5% on an annualized basis. So, I mean, it is absolutely just really super cool to see those kinds of numbers and those kinds of results. So we do have, I'm going to have a couple panelists joining us here, and I think Brian is working right now on doing that. And Brian, all I can see, just so you know, all I can see is a blur. So you can turn your video off if you'd like, and then we don't have to worry about the blur that's on the screen there. But at any rate, let's get going because we do have a lot to cover. So let's get started with this. I want to explain really what you're going to learn this evening. Number one, you're going to learn the process for achieving growth, and it doesn't matter what level of growth you'd like at all, but it really won't matter for you. I'm going to just go ahead and make an adjustment here really quick. There we go. So for you, it won't matter how much growth you want to experience. If it's 5% annualized, 8%, 10, 30%, really doesn't matter at all what sort of growth you're looking to accomplish. But we're going to give you the tools tonight to do that. So the process for achieving growth, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what must change if you truly desire growth. And growth doesn't come just because you start a process. There are actually some fundamental things psychologically that we need to change. And you're going to hear directly from Dr. Patel what his hangups were, what challenges he faced in getting past this barrier to growing. We're going to talk about what actions are required for growth, and again, the process for growth. And I think something that's really important, I'm not selling anything in this webinar tonight. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be giving away at the end 60-minute discovery calls where you'll participate in a call with me and one of our member ambassadors to help really create a roadmap for your growth. So nothing's being sold. At the end of this webinar, you'll have an opportunity to go to a website, schedule an appointment at your convenience that fits in with our schedule, obviously, but it's a very simple website. You'll be able to go to it, pick and choose a time, and then if you want to move forward, you'll have the ability to do that simply with no cost, no obligation discovery call. So nothing's being sold. Instead, I'm giving things away. In addition, I'll mention this now before I forget. This is my latest book. It's available on Amazon.com. It's called Profiles of Success in Dentistry. It's a fantastic book. It's a real book, not an ebook. I'm not asking you to go buy it on Amazon, although that's nice if you want to. But if you choose at the end of tonight's webinar to book a 60-minute discovery consultation with myself, I'll send you the book at no charge. So it's a $13 gift if you decide to book, and I'm going to be giving up an hour of my time, which, you know, as busy as I am and as busy as you are, there's a lot of value there. And so I want to make sure that you understand nothing's being sold. Instead, I'm going to be sharing with you a process and one of our members' very recent experiences. As a matter of fact, it's about as fresh of an experience as we can get. So you're going to be hearing from Dr. Hiren Patel this evening. Hiren is a GP in Charlotte, North Carolina. He's been practicing since 2008, and basically what prompted Hiren to reach out to us to consider Jerry Jones Direct was his practice had dropped significantly from not from $40,000 a month to $30,000 a month, but really significantly from about 1.8 million a year down to 1.4. And you'll hear Hiren share his story during this. And we're going to be watching a few of Hiren's clips. But before we do, I also want to point out that if you're viewing this on a computer screen, you have the ability actually to go in and raise your hand and ask a question. So I had typed an earlier message into everyone that basically said, if you have a question, raise your hand. And I'll be more than happy to take a break at the appropriate time and answer that question. So So let's get started and let's catch Dr. Hiren on a couple of video clips. I've got probably about 7 or 8 different clips. They're all very short. And each one of them holds a very valuable lesson. And as I went back through this video and watched it, pardon me, I have no idea. That's got to be nuts. Oh boy. So I hope I don't choke the rest of this webinar, but we're going to hear from Dr. Patel directly. So let's head on over there. I'm going to do what's called a screen share. So you're going to see my face probably shoot up into the upper right-hand corner. For those of you listening on the telephone, it won't make a hill of beans difference to you. You won't know anything's happened. But for those of you watching, we're going to do what's called a screen share. So I'm going to go over here to a YouTube video, which, by the way, what you're seeing on the screen at this point is a YouTube video. You can go to YouTube and actually catch this very video. You can also catch the entirety of this video at jerryjonesdirect.com/testimonials. Again, that's jerryjonesdirect.com/testimonials. So at some point in the evening, if you have to go, if you have an appointment, you have a game to attend, your kids are calling, your wife is demanding, or your husband is demanding that you get off the computer, I don't want you to miss out on this video. So you can catch the entire video of Dr. Patel, again, at jerryjonesdirect.com/testimonials. And I'll show you what that page looks like right here. So you can go to this page. You can see it, jerryjonesdirect.com/testimonials up here in the corner, and you're going to see Dr. Patel's video in its entirety. But I'm going to take you through just a couple of clips. All right, so this first clip is a little bit about who Dr. Patel is. And you're going to see me going back and forth to my screen here as I adjust through the time. So this is real, folks. This is the real deal. This is Dr. Patel, and you're going to hear a little bit about who he is.
Basically, I'm a general dentist practicing here in Charlotte. I graduated in 2004, so this is my 13th year in practice. But I moved to Charlotte, North Carolina in 2008, and I purchased 2 existing practices. They were in the same location. They kind of shared the common space, and basically I combined into one practice. So basically, since 2008, I have been in this area practicing as a general dentist. It's been a fun ride. I learned a lot, and basically that pretty much in a nutshell.
So that's Dr. Patel, a little bit about who he is. And you can see he's a handsome devil. And I got to tell you, he is just one genuine individual. And as we go through this video together tonight on this webinar, you're going to see. And again, I want to stress, I could tell you what he said, but Hiren says it so much better than I could ever. I figured, why not just let him tell his story, and we can all learn something from him. So I'm going to just fast forward here a little bit. We'll skip through a few things. In this next segment, Hiren is going to talk about his challenges. So each and every one of you has your own unique challenges in practice. It might be administrative on, the entire administrative challenge. It might well be you have staff challenges. It might just be, everything is perfect in my world, Jerry, but man, I could just use another 10 to 15 new patients a month and not lose as many patients as I'm losing right now. So no matter what your challenges are, there's a solution for them. And more than likely, we offer that solution here at Jerry Jones Direct. But let's hear from Hiren directly on what some of his challenges are. When you purchased these 2 practices, what have been some of the challenges you faced?
It's a good question. I guess there were many challenges. I was a new business owner, number one. And when you get trained in dental school to do dentistry and nothing else. Even that is a basic education. There is a lot to learn. So when I took over these 2 practices, the biggest challenge was the business side. But I think the main challenge that was brought upon me was because of the mindset that I had. It's being trained as a dentist, I was trained to think that if I am good at clinical dentistry, that should take care of everything. And I soon realized that's not enough. So that, from business aspect, managing a team, sharing your vision and getting them to buy in your vision, and a lot of administrative things, plus providing the experience to the patient that you want to provide, in addition to providing good clinical dentistry, attracting new patients, so keeping that, a lot of challenges, basically, yeah.
Yeah. So you can tell Hiren's challenges probably aren't unique in the world of dentistry. He talks about administrative challenges, he talks about new patient challenges, and he goes through his, and Hiren, as you can tell, is a very genuine individual. And he's got a certain spirit about him that I don't know if you pick up on it, but I certainly do. And I really enjoy talking to him. So, you know, at Jerry Jones Direct, when we work with a client, we really try to figure out, okay, what's keeping them awake at night? What is their biggest challenge? And is there a way for us to actually go through and solve that challenge for them? And by the way, I just got a note from Brian, one of our member ambassadors here. He told me that the sound may be a little messed up when I restart these videos. So I'm going to do my best to make sure that we can address that, and I'll start the video a little earlier so you can catch more of what he's saying and it's clear. So Brian, appreciate that. So let's find out exactly what was keeping Hiren up at night, and see if you can relate. You darn well might be able to relate in exactly what is keeping him up at night. And then we'll talk a little bit later about how we solve that problem. So here's Hiren. Be the biggest thing that was keeping you awake at night. So, I mean, you know, if you're like me, you know, if you have stress, sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night and just drenched in sweat and go, oh my gosh, tomorrow I absolutely have to do X or Y. What was keeping you awake at night?
Good question. Mostly from the administrative aspect, I would tell you, not from the clinical, not as much from the clinical side, but you know, managing the team, having to implement the vision for the practice, and you know, the day-to-day challenges that we talked about from the business aspect, and also what I was starting to see what the future of dentistry is shaping up to be like, such as, you know, I'm definitely noticing in the past few years the patient mindset has changed, the whole demographics of things have changed. With managed care is starting to take over. So a lot of and obviously regulations, government regulations, and we are us, you know, as a country moving away from common sense. Those are the things that definitely makes me worry, basically. Keeping the practice afloat and continue to build and grow practice is, I think, I see it as very challenging now. And unless there are measures that are put in place, you know, it's not automatic. The golden era is over, pretty much, and that chart is what keeps me awake.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna stop the screen share here for a moment and just come back, and we'll go back to Hiren here in a few seconds, or a few minutes rather. But I wanted to check to see if anybody had any questions. It looks like there are no questions at this point, which is just fine. I didn't necessarily expect there to be, but I wanted to double check. So here in a few minutes, we're going to go through a little bit more with Hiren. We're going to talk to him about what he tried that didn't work, or what he may not have tried. We're going to get into then how long it took him to make a decision to see if ClearPath Society was right. What was his decision process that he went through? Then later we'll talk about what held him back, and what his expectations for membership were like. And importantly, we're going to talk about his results, because his results, frankly, are just absolutely awesome. And then Hiren will wrap up with really what he would advise other doctors to do. And again, I want to emphasize, we're not selling anything on today's webinar. This is just completely informational and sharing the experience of one member and how we've managed to help him achieve that 21% growth in 8 months. And as we go through this, I want you to really consider the impact that even a 10% increase in your top line would mean to the bottom line. So if you're doing $1 million a year, what would 1.1 million mean to you? What would 1.2 or $1.3 million, that kind of growth, what would it mean to you in a sense that how would it impact your life? What kind of positive things could you do with that additional income? Because look, we're in business to make money. We're in business to help people solve problems, and we get paid when we do that. And so we're in business to make money, and that's a good thing. That's okay. But as we go through here and you're listening to Hiren's story, try and really capture the essence of what this would mean to you personally if you were able to achieve even a fraction of Hiren's results. Because look, let's face it, not every dentist that we work with is going to experience a 21% increase in 8 months. I mean, that's not reality, but some may do better. And we've had some phenomenal success stories in the last 12 months. One immediately comes to my mind, and her results are on our website at jerryjonesdirect.com. There's a case study there on Dr. Alexis Mirzwa. And if you look at her incredible success as a startup practice in her first year, likely well over 1,200, maybe even 1,500 patients in her first year, it's just mind-boggling. So, but this is what good marketing, this is what good management skills can do for your business. So let's go back here to Hiren, and we're gonna hear from Hiren exactly here in just a moment what he tried and if it was working or not. So bear with me here. We'll do another quick screen share, and we'll go to Hiren.
Peaceful evening. What had you done, or what had you tried prior to joining ClearPath Society? What were some of the things that you tried?
You know, honestly, like I had mentioned earlier, my biggest thing was I thought that if I am, clinically good at what I do and try to provide exceptional care, and provide as painless dentistry as possible, and so mostly from the clinical aspect, that's what was my mindset. That I thought that was enough to have my patients, go out, talk about me, bring me more patients. Basically, when I took over the practices in 2008, and it's weird because I got into these practices at the worst economic time. But first couple of years, one of the doctor who I bought the practice from, he decided to stay on for a year and a half. So we did pretty good. But as soon as he left, I started seeing a pretty significant decline, a change. And since I have graduated, my focus has always been on getting better clinically, how I can include more services and, implants, you name it, just, that CAD-CAM, placing implants, like doing Invisalign, whatever, just clinical aspect. That has been the focus from day one. And then the big tap came from the back. That's not enough.
So oh man, that just cracks me up. You can tell I was laughing when we were recording this, when he talks about the big tap. And it's so interesting to me when you look at what so many doctors struggle with. They will be going along in practice and they'll try something and it doesn't work. They'll try something else, it doesn't work. They'll hire a consultant. It works really, really well for a while, and then the results start falling off, or the consultant contract ends and things just sort of implode or explode badly, depending on the situation. And Hiren began to recognize that continuous improvement, to borrow the word from the Japanese kaizen, and I'm probably totally butchering the pronunciation, but to borrow the word, means continuous improvement. And I think that is absolutely a requirement, a prerequisite for success in dentistry as a clinician, that you work at constantly improving and evolving your skills. If you don't, you're going to suffer. You're going to get left behind. The same is also true on the business side. So the administrative side, as Hiren puts it, not having the skills to understand when I need new patients, how to generate new patients, how to keep the patients I have, how to motivate my team. When you don't have those skills developed, your business also fails. And so having one without the other is really difficult. And I can tell you, being a business guy in my own office, we have all the business skills, but sometimes we're too low on providers. And that's a challenge that we face. So we'll have too many patients, too many great team members and clinical support staff, and just not enough actual doctors. So the opposite can be true. And so as you listen to this next segment, I want you to think, about your decision-making process, and in how much of Hiren's message sort of resonates with you. But next, though, Hiren's going to talk about, really how long it took him to decide if ClearPath Society was right. Because in the marketplace, and there's, I'm not going to not acknowledge there's competition out there. As there's competition in your own community for patients. In the dental industry, there are dozens of pseudo and real, both experts who hold themselves out as being able to help you grow your practice. And it becomes very difficult, I think, from a dentist perspective to decide who's right for me. And so much of that isn't the content or the information that is shared by someone like me. It's personality. Does the personality match? Do I like the person? Do I like their message? And so Hiren sort of touches on that a little bit. So bear with me here. We're going to do a quick screen share again, and we'll go back here to Hiren, and I'll let you in on Hiren's exact words in deciding if ClearPath Society was right for him.
Absolutely. Nothing can touch it, basically.
Yeah. Wow. That I love. So when you get this email, how long did you consider what was in the email before you decided to join? Was it a quick decision? Was it sort of I'm going to analyze this and think about it for a couple of weeks, or how was it for you?
No, actually, it took me a little bit of time. Basically, I got an email, and the email also had a link to a webinar. So I registered, and I joined the webinar. I heard what you had to say, and I was obviously thoroughly impressed. So I think the next day I made a call, and I was connected to our member ambassador, Jack. And then I must have spent, I don't know, 25 hours with him talking back and forth. Maybe not 25, but I remember one Friday we talked for almost 3.5 hours. One Friday, I remember that. And
wow.
So we had several conversations. I had a ton of questions, and like I said, you have this one mindset, and now something comes totally different, and not different, but something that you haven't thought about it and given much thought. And so yes, I spent quite a few hours with Jack. Jack was very kind, and he answered all my questions very patiently. And just to double check and triple check, I might have asked the same question like 1,000 times. And he was very
So really what held you back, was it I want to make sure I'm making the right decision, or what was it that was kind of holding you back?
That was it. That was it. It was just I had totally latched onto the idea, but I guess I'm a slow decision maker, and it may be a bad quality, but and I wanted to be sure. That's all, because obviously you hear so many different things, and there are so many avenues out there, and you want to pick the right one. So I wanted to make sure that I am getting the value of what was discussed, and that's why all conversations back and forth.
Yeah.
So just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
Best decision made.
Yeah.
Well, that sort of sums up Hiren's experience. I'm gonna stop the screen share here for a moment and come back. That really sort of sums up Hiren's experience with how long it took him to decide. And as you heard him, he said he spent 25 hours. Truthfully, it wasn't that long, I'm sure. But Hiren is very careful about the decisions he makes in his practice that affect the future of his practice. I know this enough about Hiren. I know him well enough that any decision he makes is going to be one, when he does make that decision, he is going to go all in on it. He is not going to hold anything back. And so I believe that's why he's a very careful decision maker. But to me, and for the benefit that I've seen Hiren get out of this, and the benefit he's obviously seen himself, being a careful decision maker paid off, and doing his due diligence, if you will, has certainly paid off. And so I think it's important that you understand, if you're a slow decision maker, it's okay. It doesn't matter. But do keep in mind, if you do take 25 hours to make a decision on something that maybe should take an hour or two, or however long, you may be losing out on an opportunity. So there is an opportunity cost to substitute in for that time that it takes to make a decision. But again, it's okay. Nobody should ever be forcing you to make a decision quickly when it comes to growing your practice. You do have time. You do have the luxury of time. But again, it's something that you don't want to put off indefinitely. You do want to take action. I want to remind everyone again, if you have a question and you're joining us online on the webinar, You can raise your hand. You can also do a chat, I believe, but you can certainly raise your hand on your little emoticon there where it shows your name. And I'd be happy to answer the question. We've got a great group of folks, that many of whom I recognize, are joining us on this webinar, so it's very cool. One other thing too I want to mention before I keep going. We're about halfway through. I'm more than halfway through with Hiren, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I want to make sure that I mention at the end of this webinar, you're going to have an opportunity to go make a 60-minute discovery consultation appointment, a discovery call with myself. And there's no charge for it. You'll be given a website link. You can go there and book your time. It's really that easy. You also get my free book. It's brand new. It's just been released a month and a half, 2 months ago. It's called Profiles of Success in Dentistry. You can get it at Amazon if you don't want to wait. You just want to go get it. But if I'd like to send it to you for free, there's no point in having you go spend $13 when I can certainly send it to you. So hang tight on that, and I'll be showing that that link at the end, if you will. So next, we're gonna hear about Hiren's expectations of out of membership, because I think it's important if you choose to move that direction later that you know another dentist's expectations, and maybe they can match yours. Maybe yours can be more or less. It really doesn't matter to us. But the important thing is, I think it's good that you know expectations and maybe what Hiren's expectations were. So hang tight here just a moment. We'll do a quick screen share and we'll go back to then Hiren. So here we go.
Ready to move forward. What were your expectations?
I had discussed, like I said, things in very detail with Jack about what my expectations were. But my main focus was, first, I started out looking from the perspective of just attracting new patients. Mm-hmm. That was my initial thought. Mm-hmm. But then as I dug deeper, I figured out that with your organization, it's a lot more than that. It's not just, it's a whole package. It's not just attracting new patients, just marketing. Obviously, marketing is a big piece of it because, what I realize is that even if I am delivering good care, if my financial side or the business side is not taken care of the way it should be taken care of, that stress is eventually going to affect my performance too. So no matter how good I can be at clinically, but if that side is not taken care of, then it would be affected. So my main expectation was to, I also had a new associate, and I wanted to build his schedule. And once that the other dentist decided to leave, some patients who he was drawing from further away, all corners of Charlotte, that decided to try somebody else and so forth. So there was a little bit of that. So multitude factors. So my main expectation was to get my schedule busy. Mm-hmm. and basically get enough number of patients. I even had come up with an arbitrary number of, reaching up to 60 new patients a month. I don't know how I came up with it, but I think I just looked at, where I wanted to be, having two full schedule for 2 doctors and 4 hygienists. And that was my initial goal. So that was the main expectation. But then as I dug deeper, I figured out that there is a lot of different things, from management side to team side to having a vision and how to implement it. And I realized that, doing something was important than being the smartest person in the room.
Hiren's last point. There's so much there that is, I think, valuable to you. A lot of wisdom just in that short clip. But the last thing he says is it's not important to be the smartest in the room. And I would argue, if you're in a room where you're in the smartest, where you actually blow everybody away, you're in the wrong room. And what he means by that is he wants to associate with people who have a different background, a different experience, a different level of expertise that he does not have, so that he simply can absorb that. So if you are continuously putting yourself in a position where you're the smartest guy in the room, and because it makes you feel good and powerful, you're in the wrong room, Bubba. I got to tell you. I'll just tell you straight. A couple other important things that he mentions, though, that I think are worthy of talking to you about here and now. One is he mentions that ClearPath membership is sort of the whole package. It's not just marketing for new patients. It's not just patient retention. It's really a whole package. And it would take me a good 4 hours if I were to go through each and every one of our ClearPath Society member systems. And so that's what he means. Membership, the contents, if you will, are just vast. The support is vast. Not only do you have me, you have a dedicated member ambassador, you have a designer. I mean, it's crazy the amount of support you get. You have phone success training that just never ends. But anyway, I digress. I didn't want to get off into those things. I want to talk to you now. I want to let Hiren rather talk to you now about the results that he's gotten from just our marketing side. So we're going to fast forward here. I'm going to go to just a little bit ahead, and we will hear Hiren's thoughts on his success. So again, I'll do a quick screen share here with you, and we'll pop over and check that out.
Yeah, I was kind of led through that process. And then eventually we came up with a plan that this is what we want to do for my practice based on what I wanted to achieve. And that was the POWER program, basically, monthly newsletters and also the Everyday direct mail. So after several discussions going back and forth, that was chosen to be the first step in this direction. Mm-hmm. And basically, and funny thing is when we picked the Everyday direct mail, the ad that you have designed, and I showed it to my team member, and none of them liked it. They're like, oh my God, because it's totally unusual, right? Nobody has seen it before. Everybody's kind of used to seeing the norm. And the initial reaction was they were not too sure, but obviously they're completely latched onto it now after seeing the results.
Yeah, so, it's kind of one of those things you have to see it. You have to see the results it produces before you're like, okay, I'm all in. I'm ready to go. Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned results now. How have they been? What has changed since? Because you joined back in November 2015. So it hasn't been quite a year as of the time we're doing this online meeting. So how has your practice changed since November 2015? What's different today that's really like, wow?
Big time, yeah, wow. I just had a meeting with my accountant about a week and a half ago in between my London trip and India trip. And I wanted to sit down with him early on so that I can do some planning and so forth. Mm-hmm. And we're just going through the numbers, and he was telling me that I'm seeing 21% growth this year, which is on the top end of the Charlotte market, basically.
Now, did you catch that? 21% growth, the top in the Charlotte market. So there isn't another dentist that this CPA is aware of, and these are dental-specific CPAs, if you will. There's not another one in the Charlotte market with that much growth in the first 8 months of this year.
In terms of new patients, which was the original kind of desired goal. So right. Basically, my average had been up to this point, I started with the Everyday direct mail and newsletter and all the things that came with joining the organization, is that we were at 15 to 17 new patients a month. That was our average. And January, we mailed out our first EDDM in January. I was kind of in the beginning a little slow. We went back and forth. So again,
that's okay. That's okay.
So I think our first EDDM started hitting our area in end of January, and within the last I would say it was 18th January, I remember correctly, 18th or 19th January maybe. But we saw in just that half a month, we saw 27 new patients, and it's been crazy since from that time. From February to August, on an average, we are seeing 50 new patients a month. I mean, it's a huge jump for us. And there has been months where we have seen 17 patients a month and new patients a month. And also, we have diagnosed a lot more dentistry in these new patients. So there's a lot of dentistry in the banks that we can hopefully slowly convert these people and get the work done. So we have a good platform now, and we have done about almost $80,000 worth of dentistry so far. That is just from EDD, and now, from the Everyday Direct Mail and the newsletters. Now we have, this is what the data that I have kind of gathered, but there may be, a new patient come in, and then later on they're bringing 3-4 family members. So that's the additional data that I may not have it accurate here. I was trying to get everything in order to give you some numbers, but 21%. We are, 2012, we had done 1.8 million. It's okay if I share these numbers, right?
Oh, yeah, it's your call. Yep.
Yeah. So we had done 1.8 million in 2012. In 2013, we went down to 1.4. So we hit $400,000, and then it's been the same story until we started on this. And now I think we are on our way to hitting 1.7, 1.8 this year. And if the rest of the 4 months go as the year that has gone by, who knows? We might hit 2 million.
That's awesome. That is super cool.
So, that gives you some insight into Hiren's really drastic change in the first 8 months of 2016. And who knows what's on tap for the next, for the last 3 months of the year. Who knows what's on, or last 4 rather, who knows what's on tap for 2017. Hiren literally has the tiger by the tail. I have one other video clip of Hiren to show you, but before I do that, I want to once again mention that in the upper left corner, I believe, of your screen, there's going to be a little hand. It's a little shaped hand thing. If you have a question, click on that, and like I said, I'd be more than happy to answer your question or questions, whatever that might be. I just simply promote you to becoming a panelist, and we do that. It's very easy. I promise it won't hurt. It's pain-free. In the meantime, I want to, for those of you who are ready to book that consultation to see how we may be able to help you, it's a free discovery session. It's an hour long. There is a little homework required, I will tell you that, which is good because it'll allow us to determine very quickly if we can help you or not, and what your own unique opportunities might be. But if you're ready to do that, it's a really easy online process to take care of. If you go to HTTP, well, I don't even need to say that. Just go to bit.ly, so bit.ly/60-with-Jerry. So it's bit.ly. So that's the domain, bit.ly/60-with-Jerry. And actually, I'm going to just go ahead and type that right on the screen here. And it should show up in your message box. And boy, I'm very slow when I have to look at a screen this way and type. So it should pop up. So you'll see a link there. If you click on that link, you can immediately go and book an appointment. And there are some requirements for that appointment, but there's no cost. The requirements being you got to do it by the end of this month. I'm not going to extend this out beyond the end of this month. So if everyone on this webinar booked an appointment, I'm going to be a busy guy for the next 2 months. So anyway, that's where you can go to book that 1 hour consultation. It's no cost. It's a discovery session. There is some homework involved, but that's so that we can really, really help you in the best possible fashion. So one gentleman has asked, out of curiosity, do you happen to know how many postcards were sent in that direct mail ad in January, or subsequent mailing size and frequency for type of traffic? Absolutely, I sure do. And I can tell you, Jack would be the best person to answer this question. Jack is Hiren's member ambassador. But Steve, I believe he is sending 2,500 direct mail pieces every 2 weeks. They may be all going at once, so about 5,000. But 2,500 every couple weeks, or 5,000 all at once a month. That's what he's doing to achieve those new patient numbers. In addition, and it's going to be different for every market. Some markets we may only have to, we may mail twice as many or half as many, depending on the dental demand of the market. But that's typically what Hiren has been doing. In addition to that, Hiren also mails to his top 500 patients he mails a comprehensive package every month to them in the mail. It's a physical package. It includes a magazine called Life, Liberty, and Happiness. It includes an in-office newsletter, which is really all gossip about his dental practice, because nobody cares about non-gossip stuff. They want to know about gossip. They don't care about dentistry. And a couple of referral cards, all included in that package. And so that's a program that we offer our members. And he's absolutely slayed it. And as far as cost, I'm not sure. He's probably somewhere in the $3,000, $3,500 a month range for that sort of promotion. But again, I don't know for certain. I'm just kind of throwing that out there as a guess. But Steve, I'd be happy to shoot you an email with exact details if you'd like. So if anybody else has a question, be sure to ask that question. And if you want to be live, I'd be happy to promote you to a panelist. So the last thing, the last video clip I want to show you of Hiren is really his suggestion on what he would tell other dentists to do. And so this is that point where Hiren basically, we're towards the end of the webinar, as you can see. We're 31 minutes into it out of a 36-minute webinar, and I just asked him, hey, if you were going to share Jerry Jones Direct with somebody, what in the world would you say? And before I go, it looks like we've got a couple other questions. Don't see the link address. Okay, let's see. I can answer that one for you, Kevin. And whoops, well, shoot, Kevin, I apologize. I'm gonna answer that for you. Let's see. It's HTTP : and it's bit as in well, I'm not gonna go there, but bit.ly/60 with Jerry. So that means 60 minutes with Jerry. So 60 with Jerry. So that is out there. And the ROI question, did he give us an ROI on the $3,000 per month spent? Well, here's what he did give you, is he gave you an $80,000 in production. That's production that he's tracked just from this one action. So keep in mind, he's done a number of things, but this one action is what he has data on. What he cannot really gather data on and what we didn't even talk about was the increase in new patient referrals, which very, very often happens when we start mailing a newsletter to existing patients, the kind of newsletter that we mail, this package of information, if you will. That typically will double. If you're a great doctor, you have a great team, and those are the prerequisites. You have to be a great doctor and a great team. And what I mean by great doctor, great bedside manner. If you are a great doctor, great team, you should easily see a double in referrals just from the newsletter aspect. So that's one thing that Hiren didn't track, was where were my referrals at from patients before, 8 months before I started the program, and where are my referrals at now 8 months into the program. I would be willing to bet he's doubled them. I would be willing to bet money, in fact, that he's doubled them. So I hope that that answers your questions there, Kevin. And okay, so let's go ahead and go back then, because I think we got Kevin's questions answered, which I appreciate you submitting those, Kevin. That's fantastic. Steve, thank you, sir, as well. So let's go back to the screen share, and we're going to catch Hiren sharing what he would recommend other doctors do.
You recognize that, and you're getting better at getting out of your own way.
100% to that.
That's awesome. So what would you tell another doc if you were having a one-on-one conversation with another doctor at dinner, or at let's say at a dental meeting, and you're talking to a doctor in the hall, what would you tell them about making a decision to join ClearPath, or what would you tell them? I mean, would you tell them to act, or what would you say?
What I would say is what I experienced, basically, that you don't have to be alone in this, because I felt that I did not have any avenue how to change things. I know a change needed to happen, but I really was kind of clueless, and I didn't have anyone to talk to, or or there were too much out there. Like you didn't know who to trust. And with now my experience, I can definitely speak with all conviction that really I would tell whoever that colleague is that you really don't have to do this alone, and you probably can't do it all by yourself, because you also have to carry the load of doing the actual dentistry. You know, if you're not involved in that, the meter is down. And so that's what I would say, that you know there is amazing help here, and it's very logical. It makes sense. It has proven itself many times over, from what I hear and that I get to interact with people, and in my personal experience. So definitely, I would say give it a chance, give it a try, and get out of your own way, kind of, and do it basically. So that's what I would say. I would say don't have to be alone. There is help, and it's very authentic, and it works, and I can attest to that.
This video goes on, and towards the end, I almost shed a tear. I'm not kidding. And I'd like to thank Dr. Patel. He's not with us tonight, but I'd like to thank him for his time and his very candid thoughts with me on that webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the screen share and come back to you directly. We've had a couple of questions, and I want to actually go back to one of the questions. I did get a text message. There's so much technology going on around me here. I'm having fun, and I'm having a hard time keeping up with it. So do forgive me. But I just got a text message from Jack. Jack is one of our member ambassadors. He is Hiren's member ambassador, as a matter of fact. So he's Hiren's dedicated contact here at Jerry Jones Direct. So Jack facilitates and assists Hiren in his marketing plan and the execution of his marketing plan, and introducing Hiren to additional opportunities that he may not see. And so it's a wonderful, wonderful relationship that the two of them have. Jack sent me a note here, and he said that Hiren, for the first 3 or 4 months, was sending out just 2,500 pieces of direct mail in the first 3 or 4 months. So the first 3 or 4 months of 2016, Hiren was only sending out about 2,500 per month. The last 3 or 4 months, so if we say May, June, July, or June, July, August, he was sending out 5,000 per month. So he doubled. Very simple reason why he doubled. He was kicking butt, and he thought, hey, this is working. Let's make hay while the sun's shining. So that's, again, that's Hiren's experience. And he goes on in that video, like I said, very kind gentleman, and what he shared. So let's recap on what we've really discussed and learned from Hiren, and really what I'd like to make sure everybody understands. Hiren made a very conscious decision, as you heard him in his own words early on in the video. He made a conscious decision to change. He knew that the route that he was on, the trajectory, the downward trajectory, wasn't going to change unless he made a decision to change, and so he made it. He took action. After working on this decision through his mind, he decided, I've got to take some action. I've made a decision to change. I've got to take some action. So he took action and reached out to us. With the help of his team here at Jerry Jones Direct, we formulated a plan with him, and we went through a planning process. I'm going to take you through the process. And don't worry if you are trying to take notes. You can always come back and watch this video later. But first off, Hiren was introduced to the team here at Jerry Jones Direct and the resources he had at hand. So we spent some time and did a tour with him of the resources he had. Jerry Jones Direct with Hiren conducted a fact-finding mission. So essentially, the hour-long consultation that I'm offering you at the end of this webinar, which I've posted the website, it's bit.ly/60-with-Jerry. You can go there and book your 60-minute discovery consultation. Hiren, we went through a discovery process with him, and we looked for opportunities that were there. We basically did what's called a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we went through a SWOT analysis of his practice and simply designed a plan that made sense to him, that fit his budget, that could grow as he grew. It wasn't something that we could do just once. It was something that we fully planned on intending to do for months and months. And you can tell You don't need to take my word for it. You can tell from Hiren what his results have been. And then we did it, basically then we created a plan of action based on those first three things. We executed it, we monitored the rollout, and then we conduct regularly with Hiren. Jack and Hiren meet on a regular basis by phone, conducting an AAR, which is an after action review. So it's a review of what happened, and then what are we going to do? What's next? So, and then of course, the old deal, wash and repeat. So that was really what the process looks like. And now, no matter if you deal with me or you do all this on your own, that's the process you need to go through. If you just did a SWOT analysis and acted, you're going to be light years ahead of everybody else. Oftentimes, though, it's hard to see what your own strengths are, what your own weaknesses are, where the opportunities lie because you're too close. And oftentimes, you don't know what the threats are because you're completely unaware. After all, you're spending your day with a patient in a mouth, and there's things going on around you that you may not be aware of. But I think, going back to his results, 21% growth the first 8 months of the year, tops in the Charlotte market, 31.5% annualized growth. So if he remains on the same trajectory of growth, he should blow 31% out of the water by the end of the year. And I have no reason to believe why he wouldn't continue on that trajectory of growth. So I guess really, and one other thing I want to mention, he mentioned meeting with his CPA. Not enough dentists spend enough time meeting with the professional advisors they have around them. You should have an attorney that you meet with at least annually. You should have a CPA that you are meeting with at least quarterly. I think quarterly is plenty. That is sitting down with you and reviewing your numbers, not only for the purpose of review, but also to help you plan based on finances, what your future looks like. So if you want to grow, what is going to happen to the numbers to allow you to grow? So that's a whole nother reason to meet with that CPA, in addition to tax planning and on and on and on. It's something you really should just do automatically every quarter. And that's something Hiren has picked up from membership and instituted. And now, all I can say is, look what he's done. I can't take the credit for it. It's all Hiren. So I guess really the next question is, are you a candidate for the discovery call? And as I've mentioned, there's no fee for it. It's free. I am going to invest a significant amount of time in each call, not just the hour during the call, but I probably will be investing 2 to 3 hours in advance of the call, working on the information that you will provide to us. And I'll get more into that in a moment. But this is a significant opportunity for those who understand what's in front of them. Your decision to pursue a free consultation or not isn't going to change my world. It isn't going to change my life at all. However, it could significantly impact your life. And that's really the whole point of this. So you have to ask yourself, am I right for this or am I not right now? Because maybe you're going to be right for this later on. But if you're ready to do this consultation and take a leap forward, then this is a simple way to do it. It's 60 minutes out of your life, some prep time, and who knows, you might well be sitting in Hiren's shoes with a 21% growth rate in the first 8 months of 2017, or in the next 8 months. Who really knows? It's going to be completely up to you and the decision that you decide to make. So the next steps are simple, very, very simple. And I can't believe the timing on this. Literally, we're almost at the top of the hour, so I'll have some time for questions. So if you have more questions, certainly formulate them and send them through the Q&A or the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can do that. But here's the process. Here's the next steps. This is what you need to do if you're interested in moving forward. If you like what Hiren said, if you can envision yourself getting the results that Hiren has gotten, or even a fraction of the results that Hiren has gotten. I mean, what if you just grew 10% in the next 8 months? What if you grew 5%? There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's all about continuous growth. And think of it this way. If you only grew 5% a year for the next 5 years in a row, what would that mean? It's not 25% growth, I'll tell you that, because it compounds, right? Each year. So if you go from 100,000 a month to 105,000 a month, that's 5% growth. If the next month you have 5% growth, it's not 105,000. It's far more. I don't have a calculator to do the math, but you get my point. So it compounds. So 5% growth a year is okay, but I mean, frankly, you should be shooting for more, 10, 12%. But 31% and at 31.5% growth is off the chart, but it's possible. You can do it. The only thing that's keeping you from not getting there is decision and action. So that's what this is all about. So the next steps, the purpose of which is just to see if we can help you and to see if we are a good fit. That's what the discovery call is all about. Because if we can't help you and we're not a good fit, there's no point in moving forward. There's no point in us asking you to become a member or you asking to become a member. It's the points, it's moot. So book a 60-minute discovery session with me. You can do that at the link that, again, it's bit.ly/60-with-Jerry. It's that simple. bit.ly/60-with-Jerry. Go to that website, click on the link, and then book your time. There are dozens of times available in the next couple weeks, but first come, first serve. And there's going to be a ton of folks watching this webinar. So if it's of interest, hopefully you've already gone and done it. But go there, choose a date if you can before September 30th. In the event no dates are available, what I'd recommend you do is to book the next available date in October. But if you're listening to this and it's September, and I'm going to honor it into October, but I'm just telling you, let's get started now versus later. There's no point in putting this off. So choose your date, first come, first serve. The next thing that's going to happen, once we receive notification that you've booked a time, you are going to be sent what's called a practice marketing audit, okay? And this audit is going to help us identify where the opportunities are in your practice. It's a little bit of homework. It won't take you very long, and if you're efficient, you will simply take this, you'll look at it, understand what we're after, and you're going to provide it to one of your team members with the instructions to fill it out completely, not half, not sort of, not a half-assed job. Fill it out completely and then return it to us 72 hours. You have to return it to me 72 hours prior to your call. If I am unable to get my hands on it 72 hours prior to your call, we're going to have to postpone the call. The reason being is I invest a lot of time, and I invest time with your potentially your future member ambassador as well to review this audit. So if I don't have complete information or I have half information, I can't do my job and give you the best opportunity that I think I can. So you'll need to fill out that practice marketing audit. Once that's done and we receive it 72 hours in advance, 72 hours in advance of your call, of your discovery call, then we'll conduct the discovery call. And on that discovery call, it's one-on-one, you and me. We'll go through that entire audit, and it's a couple of pages. We'll go through the entire audit, and I will identify on that call opportunities for you to immediately increase your income. I'm not gonna put together an entire year-long marketing plan, but what I am going to do is I'm gonna help you identify immediate opportunities and long-term growth potential opportunities. And furthermore, perhaps even suggest changes to the way you're conducting business. Not clinical, but business. So that's the opportunity that's in front of you. It's no cost. And plus, I'm going to send you a copy of my free book. It's $13 on Amazon. I'm going to send it to you as soon as you receive your notification that you have made an appointment. So that's pretty much it. You're going to get a confirmation call once we receive your practice marketing audit back. You're going to receive a confirmation call or a confirmation email, which indicates we've received it, we're ready to go, we're on for the call. Again, if I don't get your marketing audit 72 hours in advance of that call, we're going to have to postpone the call because I won't be able to do an adequate job, and I'm certainly not interested in wasting my time or your time on a call that is just really not worth doing. So there are some requirements, as I mentioned earlier. So the next step is be prepared to find those hidden opportunities and discover the growth process. So remember, book your appointment. I'll send you a book for free, and that's how it works. So my goodness, it's exactly 5 o'clock on the dot here out in Oregon, and I'm sure my wife's got dinner ready for me, but I'm happy to wait. Don't worry, I'm happy to wait. So I've had a blast. I love doing these. I love hearing from doctors, and I love getting these questions. And my goodness, if you have questions or if you want to talk on the webinar, just raise your hand or whatever, and I'll give you all a few minutes to kind of see if that's something you want to do or not. The other thing I'd encourage you to do while we're waiting, head on over to the Jerry Jones Direct website, jerryjonesdirect.com/testimonials. There are dozens of testimonials there with more coming. I'm actually going to be posting 10 more videos of doctors just giving their their unabashed and unbiased feedback about working with Jerry Jones Direct. Literally 10 more videos, and some are a few minutes long, some are 10 minutes long, but they're all from ClearPath Society members, Jerry Jones Direct ClearPath Society members. So, man, I'm not seeing any questions. I'm bummed. I love answering questions. Let's see. I guess we don't have any. That's okay. Not a big deal. I'll tell you what, if after we wrap this webinar up, you do have a question, I would like you to email me, or I'd like you to just give me a call. Most of the time, the vast majority of the time, I don't sit by my phone waiting for it to ring. So you'll probably get voicemail. And as a matter of fact, you will get voicemail. But leave me a message. I will send you an email. I'll call you back. We'll figure out a time to communicate and talk. But most of my calls outside of these 60-minute discovery sessions that I'm doing, my inbound, outbound call days are on Wednesdays. So we can book a time on a Wednesday and do that. But otherwise, we can do the 60-minute call. And I'd love to have you part of it. We do have a question. You referenced a case study. Don't immediately see it on the testimonial website. Oh, great question, Stephen. All right, so here, let's do this together because I love this. This technology is so cool. Let's do a quick screen share, and I'll take you all over there to that particular page there. And I believe that's with Dr. Alexis. So Alexis, we'll do a quick search for her, and there it is. So you all should be seeing that on your screen now. It's a case study. So we'll click on that. And there's a picture of Alexis and sort of a little bit of background on her and what's happened. So this case study was posted March 27th, and frankly, I should update it. But you can see as we scroll down through here, really what's happened to her. And what you're seeing on my screen, you're seeing a call log. So every marketing piece that we do for our doctors, we use call tracking numbers. We've been doing it for years. We're kind of pioneers in this area in the dental world. And it just is awesome because we can tell what's working, what isn't working. We can provide training to team members who are not quite up to par on answering phones and booking patients. But if you look at Alexis's information here, this what you're looking at is mailings of 6 by our proprietary sized direct mail pieces. And you can see this tremendous growth. And you can click on the images and they blow up. But this is from September 1, 2015 to March 27th, 2016. And this red line shows the crazy growth in number of calls that she's had over that period of time. If we scroll down a little further, by the way, this one direct mail piece at that point had generated 254 phone calls. And you can see that here on this little chart. You can see when people are calling. You can also see that they call early and they call late. So if you're not having your phones answered, really 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., you're missing new patients. I'm just saying, it's a waste of money if you're not. And here you can see the leads per day. So not patients or not phone calls, but actual leads. So patients who booked appointments on a daily basis. So you can see that she had a massive spike here, but you can see just from this one, from these 3 different pieces that we did for her during this time frame, have just been explosive. And this is a great case study here. There's another, we can, there's an even better explanation, a real synopsis, if you will. Basically, she's invested $59 a call on 415 calls. Her patient acquisition cost $37.62 versus a national average of $250, which is just retarded. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous to see those numbers. Very happy about it, but it's crazy. 130 new patients a month. She's on track to hit 1,560 patients her first year. So her first year has just ended, literally. Well, it hasn't ended yet. I think she's sometime about the middle of this month when her first year will have ended. So literally she's maxed out and looking for an associate, and that was back in March. So anyway, there's a great case study here you can check out. And Alexis is in Virginia. So you can read about it here on the website. This website is going to be updating pretty soon. The look's going to change a little bit, but all that information is going to be there, and it won't go away. So hopefully, Steve, that helped. And I guess if we don't have any other questions, it's wonderful that everybody has stuck through this webinar, and I hope it's provided some real value. I hope you've now better understand how to achieve that growth that you're after. The process that we use here at Jerry Jones Direct can be overlaid on you doing it yourself. It can be utilized right here through us at Jerry Jones Direct. It's really up to you. We're here to help. We've been here over 20 years, and we'll be here another 20. We're not going anywhere. And we've got just an incredible group of members, and hopefully you can join us. Schedule your discovery call. Let us know how we can help you. Get your practice marketing audit back to us once that discovery call is scheduled and you receive the audit. And let's grow your practice together. I'm looking forward to helping you out. Thank you for tuning in this webinar. If you have any questions and you wanna set up a conversation, shoot me an email, jerry@jerryjonesdirect.com. But I do believe that that consultation, that discovery consultation for an hour is going to be the ticket for you to see some real growth if you have the burning desire to make it happen. Otherwise, I appreciate everybody's time tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll catch you on the next webinar. Have a good one.